All right. I'm not going to bury the lead this time. My pick is Notion AI. First, what is Notion AI? So for those that don't know, Notion is a productivity and note-taking tool, very, very popular for both business and personal use cases. And Notion AI, as you can imagine, applies AI into helping people stay more productive when they're writing, organizing tasks, etc. Not dissimilar to a lot of other AI applications that we've seen at this point. But there's three reasons why I'm picking Notion AI. The first is speed and innovation. So let me paint a quick picture for you to explain why. So Notion AI's alpha release was November 16th of 2022. And we've kind of already touched on this, but just play along. Do either of you know when ChatGPT, the public interface that everyone went crazy for, when that was released? Specific date?
October 23rd.
No.
June?
It was November 30th, 2022. So this was 2 weeks after Notion AI Alpha was announced.
Really?
So even before, yes, exactly, yes. So and I'll
Really?
go into it. So even before that massive craze swept the tech world, the Notion team had already predicted that it'd be really helpful for their customers. They weren't just reacting to what other companies had added to their products. So keep that in mind. Their co-founder and CEO, Ivan Zhao, published to a blog last November describing some of the details leading up to this launch. In it, he mentions a couple interesting things. So number one, how they had actually visited OpenAI's office in as early as 2019. The product obviously wasn't ready back then, but it just goes to show how in touch they were with up and coming tech. And the second was how their wait list for Notion AI ended up being over 2 million people when they were expecting just a couple of 100,000. Okay, so I actually, too, have a really vivid memory of this. When I requested to join the beta, when it had come out all those months ago, I got a pop-up that said something along the lines of, congrats, you're on the wait list. You are number 235,000 in line. And I just thought that was hilarious. I actually messaged other people that I knew had also requested access to see what ridiculous number they had or where they were in line. And their numbers, they were as equally as ridiculous. And so I think I'm just gonna steal that idea. Number one, for any beta, it's I'm just gonna give somebody a ridiculously high number. People are gonna be like, oh my god,
Start the number at 100,000.
Yeah, this thing is so hype right now. Oh my god. So anyway, it really just added that, like I said, hype element to their product and encouraged me to ask other people about it and share it. But anyway, they got so much interest because they were early and people weren't burnt out on AI yet. They were one of the first consumer technologies to implement the potential of AI in the ways that are almost second nature to us now. And so that's my first reason for picking them. And the second reason is, wait, you guys, we all need to take a shot because my second reason is rolling thunder, baby. No, I'm not kidding. So Notion AI wasn't just a one and done launch. They launched it publicly in early 2023 and continued iterating throughout the year to make it better. And it started with simple prompts like, hey, we're write a blog, check for grammar and spelling. And then over the course of many months, it turned into Notion projects, which allow project managers to use AI to do the heavy lifting. And then Notion Q&A, which turns the platform into a wiki and where your employees can really just ask any question about policies, company goals, whatever. And Notion would then answer based on the info that was in the company's Notion instance. So again, Notion wasn't just released once in early 2023. It was released again and again and again throughout the year to drill into people's brains that it's there and it could help them. And now let's talk about the last reason why I picked Notion AI, which is theming and iconography. And this is a really unique reason and one that I wouldn't normally think of for product launches. But it was really important in the case of Notion AI because it was such a unique, different capability from what people were used to. Remember, again, this is before almost the ChatGPT craze. So people didn't really know what it was all about. So Notion had to really ground this capability into something that was relatable to people. And what they landed on ended up getting copied by hundreds of other companies that added AI to their product. And that is the theme of, I'm going after you, Tamara, magic and the iconography of the sparkle emoji. So that's right. I'm saying it now. Notion AI was the first release that made the sparkle emoji synonymous with AI, and the first release to use the theming of magic to describe what AI does for users. And you can see that if you go onto Wayback Machine. I don't know how often you guys use that, but like if you go onto Wayback Machine,
All the
so go
time.
to
Yep.
notion.ai. And like even as early as I think, it was like November of 2022, you can see like the sparkle emoji and then like some of their like little like outline stick figure characters. They're all like magical. That's the theme. So they did that in as early as 2022 when they were promoting the alpha launch. And since then, hundreds of other quote unquote magic AI launches have come out using that same sparkle emoji iconography. And for those keeping score at home, remember, Canva released in October of 2023, I believe, almost a year later. So Notion did it first. They evangelized that creative, and it was one of the core reasons why it stood out, got people interested, and encouraged them to give the product a try. And I'll just leave it there.
I would like to correct the stat, Andy, and say that Canva released the Magic Write in 2022 as well. So who's to say? Did Magic Write come out before the Notion Sparkle?
Okay, all right. Let's just we'll let the viewers decide for that one. Okay. But anyway,
that can be the poll.
Outside of that, what do you guys think?
That was great.
I love it. I was so happy. Yeah, so happy when you chose this. So I love Notion. Like I use it, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this. Like I don't use the AI capabilities. Yeah. Is that crazy? Like, do you guys use AI in Notion?
I do. Oh, yeah. I use it for very basic capabilities because I'm like, well, actually, because we use it at Apollo too, but we don't pay for the AI capability. I'm not the admin, okay? So I don't control that stuff. But when I first started at Apollo, we had enough of like the free trial like credits that would come up, and I thought it was very helpful. Like I did use like the Q&A. I did use like the summarizing capabilities because we use like a lot of docs for pitching projects, like why things are important, like that kind of a thing. And so I would use the summarizing tool all the time for that.
What I like about it is that, if you think like a lot of companies just use Notion for everything. So it's kind of like how you see AI now going into like Google Workspace and stuff like that, where it's just like, I've used it in Notion because I'm writing like some messaging in Notion and I want someone, or like copy I'll be writing and I'll want maybe a long form of something and I'll ask it to cut it down or make it more concise or make it like a 7th grade reading level or something like that. It's pretty good in that way, where I think like the interesting thing about their product is the use cases are like so broad. There's like a million different use cases for Notion. And so that's why it's cool when you see like like Jess, for example, come out with like AI for product marketers. It's like taking their AI and actually putting it on a use case, which is cool. I also think that was interesting the way they you had touched on it, Andy, where like you got to try it. I first tried it because they gave us a certain number of free credits, which is the idea of like freemium around AI. I think Canva does it kind of similarly, where you get to just use it a couple. Like this seems to be the go-to model for like freemium with AI. Is like you get a certain number of tries, you get to see what it can do, and then you got to pay for after you use those credits, which seems to work pretty well.
And they're pretty generous with like the number of credits too, because like there is a little bit of a learning curve of trying to figure out like what exact prompt spits out the best like framework or like the best type of like writing or like something to match the tone. And so you really get used to using it. And then like when they finally cut you off, you're like, oh, I kind of need that. That'd be, you know what I mean? The other thing that I noticed too, which is we didn't plan this, but each of our AI choices, they were like pioneering different AI use cases. So like Jason, like yours with like the dev persona, Tamara, Canva with like designers, and Notion with like writers or productivity. So it's like different applications that are now, I would say like the norm. But at the time, it was like mind-blowingly like, oh my God, like the world is changing. Like, what is this era? And so I think that's pretty cool that there's like these three like originators, you know?
Yeah. It's like pick a role. What is their like go-to product that is like core to what they do? And then chances are at some point that product is either already done it or will soon make like start to build in AI.